Gilgamesh, man, he was a big deal. Some stories say he was half god, others say full-blown god. But one thing's for sure, he was king of a city with walls so huge he built them himself. Follow for more. But even with all that power, he wasn't happy in his city. He'd walk around picking fights with all the young, strong guys. He even made this crazy rule. The first night a woman got married, it was his. Seriously, if the husband didn't like it, he had to fight Gilgamesh, or Gilgamesh got to spend the night with his wife. Win-win for Gilgamesh, right? The people were like, hey gods, give this king something to do. So the gods were like, all right, let's send someone just as strong as him. They made Enkidu out of clay and dropped him in the fields near Gilgamesh's city. He lived with the animals, just like one of them. The farmers were like, hey Gilgamesh, this guy living with the animals is messing things up. So Gilgamesh sent a beautiful woman out to the fields. When Enkidu saw her, he went wild. For 7 days, he was all over her, and she taught him to eat bread and drink wine. He learned all about being human. The animals he used to live with ran away from him, just like they do from humans. With no place to go with the animals, Enkidu moved to the city. He ran into Gilgamesh, and they started fighting right away. Houses were getting wrecked. It was crazy. Gilgamesh barely won, but he saw something in Enkidu. They became best friends, inseparable. They heard about this mythical creature in the cedar forest, a beast with fire in its lungs that blew out its nostrils. They went to take it down, and they did. They brought back its head and lungs as trophies. The gods were like, whoa, these guys are awesome. Ishtar, the goddess, got all smitten with Gilgamesh, but he rejected her. She was furious. She went to the sun god and threatened him. I'll go to the underworld and unleash all the monsters if you don't send your sacred bull to fight Gilgamesh. The sun god, not wanting to deal with that, sent the bull. The farmers were like, uh-oh, there's a giant bull running around. Gilgamesh and Enkidu went to face it. It was a tough fight, but they managed to take down the bull. But that victory over the bull came with a price. The gods were pissed. They sent a deadly sickness to Enkidu. Gilgamesh couldn't do anything about it. He watched his best friend get weaker and weaker. When Enkidu died, it shattered Gilgamesh. For the first time, he realized that even the strongest people die. Gilgamesh couldn't handle losing Enkidu. He decided to challenge the gods and find a way to live forever. He went on a crazy journey, searching for immortality. After a bunch of adventures, he reached the land of Dilmun and met Utnapishtim, the wise guy who survived the Great Flood. Gilgamesh begged Utnapishtim to tell him the secret to eternal life. Utnapishtim felt sorry for him and told him the story of the flood and how he and his family were chosen to survive. He said the gods gave him immortality as a reward for being good. But he also said that immortality was only for gods, not humans. Gilgamesh was desperate. He begged Utnapishtim to help him find a way to live longer. Finally, Utnapishtim told him about a magical plant hidden deep in the ocean that could make you young again and live longer. Gilgamesh dove into the deep water, and after a long, hard swim, he found the plant. He came back up, tired but happy, and decided to rest before going back to Uruk. But while he was sleeping, a snake came along, saw the plant, and ate it. The snake was huge, with scales that shimmered like emeralds in the sunlight. It had eyes like glowing coals, and its forked tongue flickered in and out, tasting the air. It slithered up to Gilgamesh, its body as thick as a tree trunk, and swallowed the plant in one gulp. Then it shed its skin, leaving behind a smooth young body. The snake was young again. When Gilgamesh got back to Uruk, he wasn't the same arrogant, hot-headed guy anymore. His journey to find immortality had changed him. He'd seen the amazing power of nature, the strength of the gods, and how fragile human life really is. With all the wisdom he'd gained on his adventures, Gilgamesh ruled his city with more kindness and fairness. He encouraged art, science, and culture, making Uruk a center of learning and wealth. His stories spread all over Mesopotamia, inspiring people for generations. Even though he never got immortality, Gilgamesh left behind a legacy that lasted for thousands of years. His name became a symbol of strength, courage, and wisdom, and his story is still being told today. Follow for more.